And the journey continues. I am on my way to get foam for these 4 chairs. Once I uncover the fabric, I realized that the foam is too nasty. Way too dirty, so I made a couple of phone calls and I found this place called V&V Upholstery Supplies. They assist me to get the right foam to replace for all 4 chairs. So let's get going. Let me show you how I'm going to transform these chairs. And hello everyone, welcome to my studio. Let me remind you, on my previous video, my husband and I painted these chairs. And we realized, especially I realized, that it needed to be more. I needed to really transform these chairs. So for that, the next step was to replace the fabric. And as you saw before, I realized that the foam was way too dirty. So now we are replacing the fabric and the foam. And the first thing I'm doing here is removing all the staples. For the staples on the seat, it was very manageable for me, but the back, it was so hard. It had layers of staples. At this point, I realized I needed to call for help. So I asked Amore, my husband, to help me with this. And he committed to help me, and he was able to give me a big help. He removed all the staples for 3 of the chairs. And I am so grateful for that. He's my hero. For this task, the best thing to use is a stapler remover and pliers. I'm making sure that I look at how they built everything together so I can replace it, and I'm going to continue removing the staples all the way. And I did already remove the staples on the seat. Now, very important, as I mentioned, to take a look how they built everything, because they use these belts that are for support. So I'm taking a very careful look how they put it together to then put it back in place. And as I mentioned before, Amore helped me with the process. My hero, he was able to do this so much quicker than I did. And I was so grateful for that. He used a utility knife to cut the fabric through so it was easier for him to reach out the staple. That was a great idea. And while he is doing that, I'm preparing and cutting a template to then cut the foam and the fabric. In that way, I don't make any mistakes. I'm using as a template the foam that the chairs had before. And now I have my own template to then cut 4 pieces of foam for the back of the chairs. And I did the same thing. I cut these templates. This is batting. It's just to add some comfort to the back of the chairs on the top layer before I put the fabric. So I cut them all, and I have 4 pieces already ready to assemble on the chairs. Now it's time to cut the foam. I'm going to be using 1/2-inch foam for the back, and for the seat I'm going to glue together the 1-inch with the 1/2-inch to give 1.5-inch thickness for the seat. And I'll show you how I do that later. For the 1-inch, it was not that easy to cut with the scissors. And you see my plan B pretty soon. I thought it was gonna be okay to use the scissors, and I started cutting it with the scissors, but it was too tiring, and it was hurting my wrist. So I got the electric knife. Yes, you heard me right. I have never used this before, not even to cut turkey. But it worked really good for the foam. I really enjoy the cutting part. I'm just leaving like a ½ inch around the pattern to make sure that I have enough padding for the seat. And I'm going to continue making all the cuts until I finished the pattern. And let me show you now the next step. Now it's time to glue the 1 inch and ½ inch foam together, and I'm going to be using this special bonding glue that is especially for foam. And the instruction says to apply the glue, spray it on both surfaces first, wait 2 minutes, and then put it together and wait 15 minutes to let it dry completely. I took it outside. It says to do it in a controlled temperature place, but I'm in South Florida. It's kind of warm, but I'd rather do it outside. I don't like to do these things inside because I don't want the fumes to get inside the house and possibly breathing them. And I'm wearing gloves as well because I like to protect my skin. So I suggest you to be very cautious about all these things because it is chemicals inside of these products. And better to be safe than sorry. It's pretty glued together. As you can see, it's not even lifting a little bit, and I just glued them. Now I'm gonna wait 15 minutes and then I'm going to be handling it, but before then I'm starting to prepare the fabric. I'm cutting it and I'm making sure that I don't cut too small. I want to be able to have enough fabric around so I can pull it and staple it to the frame. So I suggest you to be very careful in this part and double check the measurements so you don't cut it too short. I am leaving about 2 inches all around to be able to have some room to stretch the fabric and staple it on the frame of the seat. Now it's time to staple the fabric to the frame, and I'm starting by stapling one staple on the front, and then I'm going to move to the back, and then I'm going to staple to the sides and then the corners. Now I'm using this stapler gun that I bought at Walmart. It didn't cost me that much, and this is the second time I'm using it. And I'm here struggling, trying to make this stapler gun work. And it's stapling 3 staples at a time, and then it doesn't want to staple no more. So I kept turning it off, disconnecting it from the power, So it was just unstapling because it didn't staple right. It was a struggle. I realized I needed a new gun by then. The selection was very quick. They only had 2 different kinds in my budget, so I chose the DeWalt. So let's get going. Let me show you how I finished this project because I need to finish it today. I am on my way back home. I already got Amore's lunch. I told him at 2 o'clock he will have his lunch. And I already got it. You can see it. Santino's pizza. He likes that, and well deserved for him because he helped me a lot taking all those staples off the chairs. Now that we are rested and had lunch, it's time to test my new staple gun. These have 5 different ways to staple. Well, I should say it staples nails and curved staples, so it's not only for flat staples. So I'm making sure that I understand the instructions. This is pretty forward, just the same way the other one worked. I hope this one works better. So I'm continuing removing the staples that were not stapled correctly previously, and then I'm going to just move forward and keep stapling. And I can already see that it's working much better. So I am very happy about this because it's not going to slow me down. So I moved the chair to the floor. I found it easier to be working on the back, placing the chair on the floor, and I am just trying my best to put these straps. And to tell you the truth, I am not equipped for this because I require a special tool that it's like a stretcher for these type of bands, and I don't have it. So I'm gonna just do my best to stretch it as much as possible, and I am putting them the way that it's supposed to. It's 2 across and then 2 from bottom to top, and just doing my best here. This was too wide, so I am trying to make it smaller and just doing my best. I was checking to see if everything was fine, and a staple was picking on the back, so I had to remove it and fixed it. But now it's just a matter of layering this and putting the final touch, which is the fabric on the top, and I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to staple the bottom first and then the top, and then I'm going to staple the sides and all around. Plenty staples. And at the end, I'm cutting the excess with the utility knife to be able to glue the trim all around, and I'll show you in a second how to do that as well. We're almost done with the complete transformation of this chair. And to decide how to place the trims, this is for two purposes: to make it look pretty and also to cover the staples. So I'm just temporarily pinching this with pins, and then I'm going to glue it with hot glue. I always use Gorilla Hot Glue. It's the best, and I know for sure that it's going to last. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to add a trim on the bottom of the seat. And that's it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments if you have any questions and what do you think about this transformation. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Until next time. Goodbye. It was a lot of work, but it was worth it.